Hello, creative man. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're making the sewing part of this top we started on the last video, which is a corset, and we're using a caging techniques for this. Now, this is the pattern, and I went ahead to cut it every piece of the pattern on the fabric, also a lining, and also an interface. And I also iron down the interface. For this, I'm using an paper stay. I'm using a paper stay instead of an air stay or any kind of stay you can think of. But air stay would have been preferred and be good. I mean, good enough for this project, but this is what I have available, which is a paper stay. So I ironed it down on every pieces, but on the lining, on the front lining, on the three parts of the front lining, I cut out three pieces each for each part, and then I stitched that down because we need that to be very thick so that we can cage on it. Right now, we're going to place the center front of the main fabric, which is the front, and then place the side front on it, and then stitch down by half of an inch from the hem to the top of the top. If that makes sense. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side also. And whatever you do that, you do on the lining as well. So for the back pieces, I'm going to bring back the pattern so that we can notch where our dart is. If you if you cut out the lining part, is fine. You just join that together now. But I didn't see any reason to cut it out because I'm still going to join it down at the end of the day. So I just notch where the lining is on the top and on the down, placing my pattern on it, and then now I'm going to fold that in two and take half inch and then connect this or to the top, I mean. So now we're going to stitch that down and slit it open, and we're going to do the second to do the same thing for the second part. Now this is the sewn part, and I went ahead to open up the stitch parts. Now this is what it looks like for the back and also for the front. This is what we have. Now this is also the lining. I did the same thing I did on the main fabric for the lining. And you can see for the lining of the front, it's given shape already because I ironed three, three steps or three stages of interface on it, unlike the main fabric. And also the back lining, I did also what I did on the main fabric on it. Now let's start the caging process. We are going to use a regional boning. I don't know if this is correct though, but this boning, this sewable boning, this is what we are going to use. And I'm using the medium size, which is about half yard. Did I just say half yard? I'm so sorry for that. About half of an inch, which is 0.5. That's the that's the wideness of this boning. So now I'm just going to draw from my under bust. Just see what I'm doing here, guys. I just mark where I'm going to sew the boning on. I just gave it a shape, then the inside of the cup, just like this. If you have a small boobs, you might just need to do one or the same thing I just did here, but it was a good one though. So you just do it like this and then stitch on the stitching allowance you already have there where we join the that together. So after doing that, this is what I have. And once you are sewing, you want to make sure on the cup parts you are bending your hand. You don't sew straight so that you can have this effect at the end of the day, because it took me a while to get this effect. I had to lose and re-sew again. So on this part, you're going to break the boning, I mean the underbust, you break the boning so that you can have it sit perfectly on you. So this is what you're going to have after sewing. And I made sure I left half of an inch on top and half of an inch on the hem line so that by the time I'm sewing or stitching down the lining, it will be very okay. Then I won't be struggling on turning with the boning. Now I'm using a double-sided what's this called? A double-sided hemming gum. I think this is, yeah, this is what it's called, a double-sided hemming gum. If you have the big hemming gun, it will be fine and it will be stress-free to use. So for this, I just place my wording on it. And also for this, if you have your fleshing, if you have a fiber for the fleshing, it will be very fine to use. But this is what I have, and I have to make use of everything, all that I have at the moment. So I just placed a wording on it, and trust me, it was very difficult to gum down. But if you take your time, you will get it. I just trace out the shape we have on the cup, and then I'm going to stitch it down. But the mistake I did was not putting water in this. I think if I had sprinkled water while ironing, it would be more easier and easily gum down. But anyway, I did all I could do, all I could think of doing. And this is what I got after gumming it down. This is what it looks like. So now let's go back to the main fabric. We're going to stitch down the two sides of the main fabric. I mean, the front and the back of the main fabric. Now we're going to place it on each other and note the allowance you took for your sewing. I use 1 inches for my own, 1 inch for my own. Now I'm going to take that 1 inch. But if you want your corset very snatch, you can take 1.5 or go as far as taking 2 inches. That is if you are using a eyelet on the back, but this one I'm using a zipper because nobody will help me zip it up. So to will help me tie the lace at the back, so I had to use a zipper so I can zip it up at any time when I'm wearing this. So now after stitching down the two sides, this is what is giving us, both on the lining and on the main fabric. This is what we have. Then you're going to notch the side so that it will be easy for you to iron down. And then you're going to press the seam down on the back pieces. Now this is what we have, and I also press down the zipper allowance. Now I'm cutting down 2 inches of bias. This is what you'll be using to stitch down our boning on the main pieces, which is on the main fabric. Now I'm going to mark down every point that I'm going to stitch, and this is what it looks like. I went ahead to use iron to iron the mid part, and this is what I'm doing. Now I'm going to make the chalk, use the chalk to make the line more visible. And every line, every sewn part of it, you're going to stitch down on it, if you understand what I mean. Now from this side, from the that line of the one going towards the side, I came out by 3 inches, and then I ruled that out, and then extend the line upward so that I can put my boning on it also. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and also for the back. And I'm also stitching on the side joining. I'm also stitching on the side joining because you want your side to be well snatched as well. You may be wondering where I'm taking that from, because I see it's not very visible in the video. is from the darts from the back. The darts of the back were taking 3 inches, which was the same thing I did for the front. Now I've gone ahead to join the boning down on every part of it, and you can see just like this. And I also went ahead to iron it, to do proper ironing on it so that it can be firm. Now I'm trimming out the excess we have on the fabric, on the joining parts, the back and the front joining. Now this is what we have. So after doing this, next thing is to join our lining and our main fabric together. We're going to place them right side facing each other, and then make sure you mat it right using your pin to hold that down until you sew it. So I'm going to start from one edge to the other. I'm going to match it from also on the front part to the side, and after doing this we're just going to stitch that down by half of an inch round. But you could as well skip this part and then sew it outside, so that at the end of the day you can cut some bias. You can cut a bias and then use it to turn it out. And I think that method will be more easier, because this method I used was quite hard, because it was very difficult to iron to make it stay down so that the lining will not be popping up. So after doing that, what I'm about to do on the hemline is what I'm suggesting you do on the top of the top. So now I'm going to stitch down first the hemline, then I'm going to use a bias to turn it out, and I'm also going to fix my zipper, which is after doing all of that. And this is what I have after doing it. This will be preferred to do on the top of your top to give it a clean finish. That's what I want to say, to give it a clean finish. And this is what we have after doing all of this. And I'm so glad about this result, because it's my first time of making corset anyway. I've been making patterns of corset, but to sew it myself, I have not actually done that. And this is my result. Thank you for watching.